Yo, welcome back to another video. It's your boy Corey the Man. We're back in here. We back in here for another one. This is did Teen Titans create Robin Hood? Red Hood. Let's see what they talking about. This is with Owen's Life's Comedy. I guess that's another
Dude, it has to be Jason Todd.
These videos are not for children. If you are a children, then piss off.
Hey there, it's me, your least favorite YouTuber, VinFuso. And today I'm here to ask the question, did the Teen Titans show create Red Hood? Now the short answer is no, but the long answer is maybe. Let me explain. Teen Titans was, and still is to this day, one of my all-time favorite cartoons. It's one of the only shows that me and my kid sister could watch together growing up, which led to a lot of arguments in the house, being that my parents had to buy us both the same exact action figures, and then she would lose hers, and then she would steal mine, and then I would steal them back, and then I would get in trouble, and then I wouldn't be able to watch the show for a couple weeks because I was sent to my room. You know, it was a whole thing. Let's not get into that here. Anyway, the show did a good job of establishing comic book characters that the general public wasn't necessarily familiar with. While I think most people recognized and had a vague understanding of Robin, being that he was the boy wonder, Batman's ward, not the same could be said for characters like Starfire, Beast Boy, Cyborg, and Raven. They just weren't as recognizable. And in addition to better acquainting casual viewers to DC characters that weren't necessarily in the spotlight, they also developed their own characters to introduce to audiences. Characters such as today's topic, Red X. Now, Red X made his first appearance earlier in the show, actually within the show's first season, appearing as a new villain to the team. But ultimately, at the end of the episode, it was revealed that it was all part of a ploy. Red X was actually nothing more than an undercover identity that Robin used to get closer to his nemesis Slade, better known to most people as Deathstroke now. But back in the day, you weren't allowed to say that. And people say we're getting soft with age. Come on now. Now, Robin took the secret identity a step too far because he didn't even tell his fellow Titans that he was doing this, meaning that they were all battling him, having no idea what was going on. When he was eventually caught by his team, he put the gimmick to rest, locking the suit away in storage and vowing to never wear it again. And that was the last we ever seen of Red X, until someone else took up the mantle.
Red X? I thought Robin was Red X. Think again.
Now, Red X's identity following Robin's exit from the role has remained a mystery to this day. It's never officially been revealed who it is underneath the mask, but it's heavily theorized both in universe and in reality. One theory being that he is in fact Jason Todd, or as many of us know him, the Red Hood. Now, before those of you try to correct me in the comment section below, well, why don't you just hold up? Well, wait till the end of the video. Let me say what I gotta say. Let's not be too hasty here. But to give you a basic recap and a condensed history of both Red Hood and Jason Todd as characters, here's one of my all-time favorite people on the platform, Owen of Owen Likes Comics.
Hey everyone, Owen from Owen Likes Comics here. So V has asked me to come on the channel again and talk a little bit about the history of Jason Todd, how the character was created, and what led to him becoming the Red Hood. But before I do, I just want to say that if you enjoy this portion of the video, please do head on over and subscribe to my channel, Owen Likes Comics. I make videos just like this one every other week, explaining the fascinating history behind the best and worst comic book characters and stories. I'm currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers, so I'd greatly appreciate it if you could head over there and subscribe. Anyway, let's talk about Jason Todd. Jason Todd was created by Jerry Conway and Don Newton, first appearing in Batman issue 357 from March of 1983. The reason for Jason's creation had to do with the success of Marv Wolfman and George Perez's new Teen Titans series, which featured Dick Grayson, then the current Robin, as the leader of the iconic team. Because of this, DC Comics didn't want Robin to appear in two conflicting stories, and as a result, the Batman writers decided to instead just replace Dick with a brand new Robin. As such, Jason Todd, upon his first introduction, was little more than a carbon copy of his predecessor. However, following DC's massive 1985 reboot Crisis on Infinite Earths, Todd was retooled by Denny O'Neil and Max Aaron Collins to be a very different Robin from Dick Grayson. Reintroduced in Batman issue 408, this new Jason Todd was a rebellious, angsty street thug caught by Batman after trying to steal the tyres from the Batmobile. Because this version of Jason was designed to be the antithesis to Dick Grayson, he proved to be an incredibly polarising character, with large sections of the Batman fanbase clamouring for the character to be removed entirely. Realising how unpopular Jason Todd was becoming, DC decided to give its readers the chance to determine Jason's fate, as in Batman issue 427, the Boy Wonder would be kidnapped by the Joker, trapped in a warehouse and beaten senselessly with a crowbar, before the Clown Prince of Crime blows the building up. The final page of this comic would see Batman search through the rubble for his partner, with a phone line advertising a number that readers could call in and vote on whether Jason should live or die. In total, over 10,000 votes were cast, and Jason was revealed to be dead in the following issue. However, in the world of comics, dead rarely actually means dead, and in the mid-2000s, rumours began to circulate that Jason Todd would be resurrected and return to the Batman comic books. Originally, it seemed as if Jason was going to be revealed as the villainous Hush, with Hush even unmasking to reveal himself as Batman's former partner at one point, only to later learn that it was Clayface masquerading as the former Boy Wonder. Nevertheless, the year later, Jason Todd would make his grand return to the DC universe, revealed as the violent and merciless anti-hero, the Red Hood, brought back to life by the Lazarus Pit, and on a vengeful quest to kill the Joker. It's worth noting that while Jason Todd is arguably the most famous version of the Red Hood, the character had existed long before the second Robin was even introduced. The Red Hood first appeared in February 1951's Detective Comics issue 168, as the alias of the criminal who eventually becomes the Joker. Considering it was the Joker that killed Jason Todd, it seems right that he would adopt that identity when hunting down and seeking revenge on the Clown Prince of Crime. Since his resurrection, Jason has been a core part of the Batman stories, often fighting alongside the Dark Knight, Nightwing and other members of the Bat family, as well as appearing in his own solo comic book series, alongside characters such as Arsenal and the Outlaws. In short, whether it's his life, his death or his resurrection, Jason Todd has always been one of the most polarising characters in the entire DC universe, having gone from a deeply unpopular character that was killed off by their own readers to a fan favourite anti-hero as the Red Hood. He's truly had one of the most fascinating histories of any character in the entire DC universe, and by understanding everything this character has been through throughout the last 40 years, we can definitely begin to pinpoint all of the similarities between the Red Hood and Red X, and hopefully get to the bottom of this mystery surrounding these two fascinating characters.
Now, there's a lot of common ground between these two masked identities. Starting with the most basic, their aliases. One is called Red Hood, the other is called Red X. Aesthetically, both wear helmets as opposed to masks. And personality-wise, the two characters line up pretty well. Both are confident to the point of pure cockiness. There's definitely a smug and arrogant nature to both the Reds. There's also a very evident moral ambiguity to both Red Hood and Red X. After becoming Red Hood, Jason Todd continues to pursue justice, in his own way. And even though his actions could typically serve a good cause, he still does some pretty shitty things. He has a problem with both the heroes and villains of Gotham City. Now in comparison, Red X often makes snide remarks to both heroes and villains in the series, mentioning and dismissing both of their roles.
Not everybody likes to play the big villain, kid. Sorry, kid. Some guys don't like to play the hero.
His actions also highlight this mentality as he does things both heroic and villainous. More often than not, both these characters do what's right for them, rather than what's right. And while Red X isn't all that heroic, he does vaguely reference the fact that he's had experience in such a role, like Red Hood would back in his Robin days.
I thought you didn't like to play the hero. Doesn't mean I don't know how.
In the show, both X and Robin share very similar fighting styles, which is why their fight scenes are some of the most interesting back and forths in the whole series. Each man blocking each other's offense continually. Both characters can jump from rooftop to rooftop with ease, and it seems that they have a lot of the same tricks. It's almost as if the two were trained under the same wing. A bat wing, if you will. Both Red Hood and Red X seem to have an affinity for motorcycles, with bikes seeming to be their main method of transportation. In the show, both Robin and X also have similar builds. And it's been noted many times before that most, if not all, the Robins look pretty much identical, with the only exceptions being the female Robins.
Right.
Yeah, hashtag all Robins. Red X also seems to allude to some sort of history or common background between himself and Robin. But to be fair, that might just be a reference to the fact that Robin used X as a disguise in the past, but even in saying that, how does he know that? Their arsenal of weapons and their usages of them are pretty similar, if not identical as well. In Teen Titans Go, when the show introduces multiple Robins, despite them having different identities, all are voiced by Scott Menville, the voice of your standard Teen Titans Robin, and Red X. Even when the costume is being used by the unknown man behind the mask, he's still voiced by Scott Menville. Despite their differences in moral compasses and working on two different sides of the good fight, there seems to be a mutual respect between Red X and Robin, along with a bit of a competitive nature between the two, not unlike the one-time dynamic between Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. Red X also takes an interest and flirts with Starfire, not unlike Red Hood would years and years later, though that's less of a point and more of a coincidence I just figured I'd bring up. The show isn't oblivious to this comparison to be made either, as when Red X first appeared without Robin underneath the helmet, Beast Boy pulls out a board of theories, one of which being that Red X is Jason Todd. Which, by the way, I freaked out when watching this and spotting that little Easter egg as a kid, because no one mentioned this character. So seeing this was kind of awesome. That's the closest at the time I'd ever been to main source continuities referencing Jason Todd. It's kind of taboo to take that character out of the comic, mainly because eventually he would die. And that Jason Todd joke would be furthered in a Teen Titans short later on. The fact that Jason Todd would even get brought up as a possibility of the character's identity is pretty much a confirmation of his existence somewhere in this universe. So there are definitely reasons to think that Red X could be Jason Todd. Now granted, there is a slight bit of an argument to be made against this notion as well. Red X is a little bit taller than Robin and often refers to him as Kid.
Come on, kids. X marks the spot. Better luck next time, kid. And thanks for the suit. What's the matter, kid? Come on, kid. Kid. Sorry, kid.
Which are indicators that Red X is actually in fact older than the Teen Titans Robin. The Teen Titans Robin being Dick Grayson being the first Robin, whilst Jason Todd, his successor, was at least a couple years younger than him. Also, there's a couple times where Red X was able to best Robin in a fight, and that just... Look, Jason Todd's my favorite Robin, but let's be real here. Dick Grayson's the boy wonder. He was the first one trained under Batman. Jason, you could put up a hell of a fight. You're not gonna win, is what I'm saying. You're not gonna win it, is what I'm saying. So let's get down to what this is all about. Is Red X Jason Todd?
I don't know!
It's been alluded to, but never actually revealed. So maybe.
Keep guessing, kids.
I still think you're Jason Todd!
But ultimately that doesn't matter because that's not the real question being asked here. My question was, did the Teen Titans show inadvertently create Red Hood? Was Red X the prototype predecessor to the Red Hood character? Well, while Red Hood's first appearance was all the way back in 1951, it was with the man who would become the Joker underneath the mask. And Jason Todd made his arrival in the comics back in 1983, while Red X's first appearance was in 2003. However, Jason first appeared as Red Hood in 2005, a mere 2 years after the creation of Red X. And the Red Hood character previously was absolutely nothing like Red X, or the Red Hood character that we're talking about today. He was just a failed comedian who was thrown under a helmet. That's it. But the Red Hood of today is a cocky anti-hero who tries to come off as a badass. Not too dissimilar from Red X. And make no mistake, Red X wasn't some background character. While he only appeared in a handful of episodes, he was pretty much a fan favorite from his first appearance. So I think it's very probable that Jason Todd's run as Red Hood was created from the ribs of Red X and the Teen Titans. With all the similarities and the popularity of Red X, it's hard to imagine that DC didn't at least take some inspiration from the Teen Titans show. Owen, what do you think?
Honestly, I've always found the Red X character to be truly fascinating. I remember watching the Teen Titans animated show as it aired, and always being captivated by this mysterious character. I was desperate to learn who they really were, and while we never got that answer in the show, I think Jason Todd was a real possibility. I know that Red X was introduced in the show years before Jason returned as the Red Hood, but there's a lot of parallels between these two characters, and it's not a stretch to imagine that in some form, the comic book writers took some inspiration from the Red X character when they were crafting Jason's new identity in Under the Hood. I don't know for sure what the writers of the Teen Titans series had in mind for the identity of Red X, but I think that had they revealed it to have been Jason Todd, the vast majority of people would have found it satisfying and intriguing, myself included. Either way, thanks V for inviting me onto this video to talk a little bit about the history of Jason Todd, as well as giving me an excuse to go back and watch some of the great episodes of the Teen Titans animated series. Thanks for watching everyone, I hope you all enjoyed it too, and hopefully I'll see you all over on my channel Owen Likes Comics again soon. Until then though, take care and keep reading.
So with that being said, I was your least favorite YouTuber, V and
Thank
Fuso.
y'all for watching. That was very informative. I didn't know the whole backstory. I did play Arkham Knight.